is only war.
What is up, Dirtbag Nation? We got a good video for you guys today. We're going to be going over how to deal with toxic players. I've been thinking about this video for a long time. Being in 10th edition, we've had our, I would say 3 to 4, I would say 3. It was probably 3 to 4 toxic players that don't really help out the community. Don't really help out you, everybody around you don't like playing with them. So I wanted to make a video on how to deal with toxic players. We're going to go over kind of major GTs, local players, whatever it may be. We're going to go over a whole list of what I think about on how to deal with toxic players, because it's going to help out the community. It's going to help yourself out on how to deal with it. And maybe if you see other people dealing with it, you can show them this video or share this video to anybody in your discords or friends or whatever it may be, and hopefully these tips, tactics, whatever you may call it, help you out in the competitive scene with 40k. So there's a lot of announcements coming up on the Dirtbag Nation. Thank you for clicking on the video if you guys are new to the channel. 40k Dirtbags, we've been around for about 2-3 years now. We're almost hitting 10k, and all thanks to you guys going down and hitting the subscribe button, do all the YouTube shit. But my Patreons especially, we wouldn't be doing this without you. We are so close to that $1,000 a month goal. Once we do that, we're going to be giving away a ton of merch and models and stuff like that on the Patreon page, just like we did for $500 a month a couple months ago. So we're super close to getting there. Once we get there, we're gonna do that. We do live games on Monday nights. Only Patreons can view it live before weeks later it gets posted up on YouTube. And also any videos that we make like this go up on patreon.com first, and there's exclusives you can only see on patreon.com. Most of these are half YouTube, half Patreon, and it's really thanks to them that, you know, give me suggestions, ideas on tactics you guys want to see. So there's a lot of tactical videos up on Patreon. It's $1 a month. Go head over there. You also get a Patreon link in the Discord that you guys can only see if you're a Patreon, which most of the shit gets talked about in there. So that's the thing. We got merch coming up. So merch just came in. These are all the merch things that we have up on Discord. All the stickers, we got dice. These widgets actually just came in. It's the 3-inch widget in the center that gets taken out. So you have the 3-inch widget, 1-inch, 2-inch, half-inch, and then over here you got the 2-inch, 4-inch, 1-inch, 6-inch. So these widgets are up for sale. There's orange and green. They look fucking sick, and I use them every single game. So that's what's coming up. We also have Cald Assassin, Inquisitor Codiez, Lieutenant with Combi, and the Libby proxies. So if you guys are interested in that, head over there. We have ACO Atlantic City Open coming up, so if you guys are there, definitely leave in the comments or head over to Discord. Let me know you guys are going. We give away limited edition Dirtbag dice if you guys see me at a GT. We have Nova coming up at the end of August. That's another GT we're going to. And me and Mike and maybe some other Dirtbags are actually talking about local training. We might be doing classes at local stores where people can actually sign up for almost like a full day event, and we kind of teach you tactics that you guys can be using in the 40k scene. We're really testing that out because eventually we're going to grow into what they're doing at LVO, Las Vegas Open, because me and Mike go out there every single year, and we want to run a workshop out there for Dirtbags that want to kind of fly out, meet us, hang out, learn a bunch of shit, and play 8 games in 3 days. So that's actually coming up on Patreon or local meta for you guys over at the Dirtbag Nation. But you guys came over here for how to deal with toxic players, not to be super positive about the Dirtbag Nation unless you really want to. Appreciate you guys. But let's get into the video, and let me pull this up for you guys here. We made a little chart to make it as easy as possible. We're going to be going over 7 tactics on how to deal with toxic players in your community, in your meta, whatever it may be. And then on the Patreon, we got 3 more at the end, which we're going to go over at the end on patreon.com. So first thing we're going to go over is, what is a toxic player? I would say a toxic player is somebody that's really unfun to play with. You start the game, they might be super friendly, but then throughout the game you start noticing like, wow, this guy is taking it either way too serious or not really smiling or laughing or having fun playing the game, because we're literally rolling, you know, dice and playing with toy soldiers. So they're just super unfun to play with. You don't enjoy the game state, the game, anything. Like, you can be crushing your opponent and still have them have a good game, whether they be learning from you or you just have a nice conversation, but you guys are both playing the same hobby that you guys love doing and putting a lot of time and money and effort into, so you both should be having fun playing the game. When somebody's not having fun and you don't have fun play with them, you probably don't even want to play with them anymore. That's somebody that could be toxic in your meta. It's bad for the community. Anytime somebody is bringing this toxic environment or bad gameplay or bad game state into your community, it's going to deter people from picking up the hobby. There's a lot of people that come in and they're new and then they just get smashed by this one toxic player, and then you never see that person ever again. And that's what you really have to control, especially if you're running your community scene. You don't want that to keep going and for them to represent your store, represent your club. That's something that has to be squashed right away. So it's really, really bad for community when you see these toxic players and you don't really know how to deal with them. They cheat, or they knowingly cheat, or even accidentally cheat but never fix it. There's a couple players that you might see not cheat, but do the wrong rules. And then you tell them the right rules, and then you catch them doing it again. That is, what's the word for it? Where you forget something 10 seconds later. That is not good, and they should be knowing their mistakes. So when you see people cheating or catching people cheating, there was a Tau player that just got caught cheating at the major GT last time, where he went 6-0, but he didn't place because he was caught cheating multiple times, and it was the same person from previous events as well. Once you're known as a cheater in your community, you're going to be stayed as a cheater in your community. Trust me, it's not good, and it follows you for the rest of this game. Anybody who had that dice where the guy had like a 6 and a 1, I think it was a Eldar player, where he rolled it down the toilet, that guy will always be known as a cheater. Funny ass story, but cheat or knowingly cheats, that's somebody that's really toxic in your community. You don't really want that ever, or you don't want to play against that guy ever. Somebody who's aggressive and controlling. That's one of the first things you notice is when you're finding these toxic players is they're super aggressive. Anytime they're doing a measurement, or they try and measure like millimeters when it's supposed to be a beer and pretzel type game, like that's a toxic player where they're just so fucking heavily focused on getting you to mess up rather than them messing up. And we're going to go over some tips on how to deal with that. But somebody who's super aggressive and they're controlling the game state, how you're playing, how you're rolling, whatever it may be, it makes you flustered. And again, we go back to number one, where it's just unfun to play with. That's the type of play that you know, fuck, I have to be super aggressive when I play him, especially when you see him in an RTT or GT that he might be going to. Sometimes your tournament organizer can basically control that by just having a conversation with them. It could be as easy as like, hey man, do you mind taking it easy on these newer players, or do you mind taking a step back? Like, we know you're going to win, just have fun doing it, you know? So that just comes down to experience and talking to people that have been in the situation before, stuff like that. So people that are aggressive and controlling are very toxic for the game state. They don't get takebacks when you do. So there's sometimes some examples that happened to me before where you might give a takeback, you might give another takeback, you might give a takeback, whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden you go like, oh shit, I forgot to move that guy over there, do you mind? He's like, no. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, bro. I just let you do this, and this, and you're not gonna let me do that? Sometimes, like, for me, how my personality is, if you guys have seen me or played against me, you know I'm like that. I just don't give a shit. So when somebody does something, I'm gonna call them out on it. I'm gonna say, bro, I let you do that, and also that. You should let me do this. Whether it be a friendly game, an RTT, GT, a little bit different. That you should do 100%. It's like you have a list of everything you gave them. So when you call a judge over and that person, and you name out everything that person did, and then the judge says like, okay, he let you do that, and he goes, yes, well, great, he should be able to do this. Like, just have the judge make that call. But that's something how to deal with toxic players, is knowing that if you give them takebacks, they should give you takebacks. If they don't give you any takebacks, you don't give them any takebacks. But again, we'll get into that in the situations down below. Doesn't let you play turn 5 at a major when you're both fighting to win. If you guys are dirtbag, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. This is just a dickhead who we didn't play to turn 5, and I lost out on LVO last year because we didn't make it to turn 5 on game 3 of day 1. Okay, so that's a whole different conversation. I just wanted to post that there to remind myself and get myself pissed, because we're talking about toxic players. So, not good. especially in the GT situation, when you guys are both playing for such a big title, an event, you should be getting the best out of both of your matches, both of your games. You're going against a good player, he's going against a good player. You both should have equal opportunity to play the full game 100% of the time. Now, when it comes to clock, 100% you should always be using clock, no matter what at GTs. That was my mistake. We didn't use clock. We still had 2 hours left in the hall until they closed down, so we should have been able to finish, but this dickhead just said, no, I'm winning, good luck, good game, and bye. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna talk about it. G is just a dickhead. So you just notice that this guy is just a complete dickhead, not really your cup of tea. Now there could be like an awkward type of guy that you're playing against, but again, you could still have fun to play the game. But when you're going against a guy that does push-ups halfway through the game and yells out blood for the blood god and says like next victim and all that shit, like that is not a type of guy that is going to be great for your community. He is a 100% toxic player. That guy should not be fucking playing anywhere near your store 100% of the time. So yeah, fuck that guy. It's a dickhead. So that's number one, guys. That's how to determine what a toxic player is. That's my insight. There might be some other things you guys can mention in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think of like how you would define a toxic player for your community. All right, so next one is going to be you need to play a tight game with widgets. So when you guys know you're going against a toxic player, you have to have widgets. You have to have things like this, the 9-inch stick, for deep strikes and reserves and stuff like that. You have to bring these out so there's no argument. When somebody goes for a measurement and they're like, all right, I need, or let's say they start moving the models because they want to get the charge off on you. This is something you guys should always be practicing when you're going into a tournament or a GT, is before they move the model, you and him agree how far away you are. So this is a really, really good tactic. I taught a lot of people this at a lot of GTs because when people are moving their models, they always move an extra half inch, less than that. Well, they always over move. So before they even move, you measure, let's say they're 18 inches away. So I am within 18 inches of him moving his model. He moves 12 inches because let's say he's a jump pack. So now I'm within 6 inches. So he has a 5-inch charge. I agree. You agree? Great. 5-inch charge. So no matter where the fuck he moves, it's a 5-inch charge. Because sometimes if he moves, wait, how are you now only 4 inches away? Because he moved the extra inch. So sometimes this might come up where he moves and then remeasures and goes, oh, I need a 4-inch charge. Whoa, no. We both agreed before you move that model, we needed a 5-inch charge. So that's when you call the judge over. You measured before he moved, and if that happens, that just means he moved an extra half inch or an inch. So not cheated, but again, the extra movement. So stuff like that is something you need to know and practice. And how to deal with toxic players is that you have to agree before the thing happens, so that way there's no argument. Widgets are a great example. If they're like, oh, I need a 6, well, great. Let me pull out my 6. I'm going to lay it on the ground, and oh shit, you're out by about 1/8 of an inch. So you need a 6 instead of a 5 to charge, right? When you're measuring like that. Can I consolidate 3 inches onto the objective? Well, let's get our 3-inch and put that down and see if you can consolidate. Oh, you're actually out, so you can't consolidate. So sometimes you might see a toxic player where they're just like, oh, yep, 3 inches, and then they start moving. Don't let that happen. So you need to play a tight game and bring your widgets. Number 3 is going to be smile and roll. Sometimes you know you're going to beat the toxic player. You want to get through the game, whatever it may be. You're just basically doing the penguin, just smile and wave. Smile and wave, boys. You're just smiling and rolling. Like, you're just getting the game done as soon as possible. Sometimes when I know I'm beating the player and I know he's a toxic player, I know he's not, he's just super agitated. He's freaking out on himself, whatever it may be. I'm just, yeah, that sucks. He's like complaining about rolling 21s in a row. I'm like, yeah, man, that sucks. I'm sorry. You fucking laugh and keep rolling. So that's how to deal with a toxic player. If you have that mentality or that mindset, kind of like how I do, I just don't give a shit. Like, you're out here to play and have fun. If you're not going against a guy that's having fun because he's a toxic player, just fucking smile and roll. Like, sorry, man, that sucks. I actually did this against a guy one time where he rolled a 1 for a leadership test. This was in 9th edition when I was playing Night Lords. So Night Lords is all about the leadership test. If he fails, he loses guys, like kills guys. So he rolled a 1 to fail his leadership or whatever, and then he proceeded to roll 5 1s out of his 10-man possess squad, and 5 possess just got picked up off the table. It was fucking insane. And then at that point, it was basically over. Like, the whole game was just like, oh my god, I can't believe I rolled 5 1s, whatever it may be. And then it was just all downhill, and I just kept smiling, rolling, whatever it may be. That's what I was doing. I was just like, all right, man, yeah, that sucks. It sucks you rolled 5 1s. And then you just keep going. So literally, it could be as simple as just smile and roll. So I hope that goes into some people's heads on how simple it could be. But again, just don't let it eat at you. Don't let it worry about you. So number 4 is consistency. Consistency is key. There's a couple players that you might call them out. Sorry, cheers. You might see how they roll, and then you want to make sure that they're consistent. The first time somebody rolls or picks up a cocked die, I'm going to ask them, okay, so we're rolling, or you're rolling all cocked dice, correct? And he goes, yes. Boom, that's it. It's not like, oh, well, if it's like this or like this, I'm going to re-roll it. I'm like, no. If it's cocked, you re-roll all of the cocks. All right? For me, it's the dice tray. If it bounces out of the dice tray, I'm 100% always re-rolling it no matter what. Make sure that that's the same every single time. Consistency is key when you're going against a toxic player, because they might roll a dice, it's cocked, it's a 1. You're like, oh, shit, let me re-roll that. Now they roll a dice again, it's a 6. Also cocked, they're like, oh, great, 6. Let me take that wound, right? So some people have that mind where they're just looking for that 6 or that really high roll that's cocked, and then they keep it. So Matt Laura, really great player. This is a great example. Matt Laura has a big ass fucking dice tray. It's basically how he carries his models. He rolls his dice in there. The one time it bounced out of the dice tray, and the entire time I was like, are you doing it inside the dice tray? He's outside. He's like, oh, what do you want me to do? I was like, it's up to you, man. Inside or outside? He's like, oh, I'll re-roll it. And he rolls it inside. And then the rest of the game, he played it that way. That's the opposite of toxic player, guys. I love Matt Lahr. He's awesome. But that is somebody that is going to be consistent every single game that he plays. Toxic people, not consistent at all. So they're going to be in and out, whatever it may be. So make sure that you're keeping them consistency with cocked dice and rolling in the tray or outside of the tray every single time. That was a really good one. I actually spent some time thinking these over, guys. Number 5 is if you remeasure, or if they remeasure you, you do the same thing, copy everything they do. This example is so good because rounds 1 or turn 1, 2, sometimes turn 3, people are pretty, good with their fucking movements. Like, they're like, I moved 12, let me just go 16 inches this way, right? Then sometimes you let them go with it. You're like, how far do they move? And then they pull their tape measure. I'm like, oh shit, I moved too far. And then I'm like, yeah, it's nowhere. So you just give them a quick question. But when you move somebody and then they pull their fucking measuring stick out and it's like turn 1, you're doing the same exact thing. You're going to measure everything that they do. This happened to one of the top players I played at, I think LV, I forget one of the tournaments, but he started, oh shit, I know exactly what, if you guys are Dirtbags, you know exactly what it is. It was one of my first tournaments out at Mythicos, and I knew exactly, I had plenty of, now I came from War Machine. I know, like, we basically use these tools in War Machine, but I was measuring my guys, and I had plenty of movement to move up, get in coherency, and then be half of a half inches away, which was 9th edition for melee phase. And I had plenty of movement to get there. He's like, oh, you can't move your guys or whatever, you can't measure or whatever. So he started like bringing his tools down and started measuring everything. I was like, whoa, bro, like, I definitely have the movement. If you want to do that, we can do that. So then once he pulled this fucking stick out, that was turn 1. The rest of the game, I had this stick out ready to go, measuring everything that he did, and I called him out on like 3 or 4 moves that he was moving too far. So that was he wasn't a toxic player. He was just very, very competitive. But when you see people like that being toxic players, you're copying them. So if they measure you, you measure them. If they don't measure you, hey, just have fun. Be like number 1. Make sure you're having fun and having fun playing with everybody you play in this game. So if they remeasure you, remeasure them, do the same thing. All right, number 6. These players win most of their games by bullying or controlling their opponents. And how we're going to deal with somebody like that is kind of applying all of these other rules that we're going over today. Is these bullies, you can tell that they might make it to the top tables every single time, because most RTTs, they're going to have like half new people, half veterans and stuff like that. They're going to just wipe through the people and sometimes veterans because they're bullies. They just like to overtalk, overstep, bully them into doing whatever, and they get in their minds. So they get into their opponent's mind, and that really messes up. It's almost like with baseball. I played baseball, and it's 90% mental, 10% physical, because if you go into the batter's box thinking you're going to strike out, you're probably going to strike out. So if you're going into this game like, wow, I'm going against this dickhead, he's going to fucking be such an asshole, you're probably not going to win the game. So it's the same way where you have to know. I'm going to go back to just smile and roll. Like, play your game, not theirs. I'm actually going to do a video on how to play your game and not theirs, not your opponent's game. That's going to be a video up on Patreon. But it's going to be going over how to deal with that type of mindset. And if you can portray that pretty early on, let's say you've never played this person before, now you know this is the type of player you're going against. So you're thinking back to this video that you're reading over, and you're going to go over, all right, what did he talk about? What do I have to remember? Let me just copy what he does, and I'll be good to go. So just be better than them. That's all you have to say about number 6. So guys, number 7 is clock. So clock is huge. I did a whole video on this, so if you guys want to go check out the video, it's up on Tactics on YouTube. When you guys are playing clock, there's this one opponent in our meta that is a fucking nightmare to play against with clock. And again, watch the video because I go over really in depth on what I'm talking about. Watch if he hits yours, which you should. Watch the clock video, but when you're playing clock, guys, you both have an hour and a half. How to take advantage of that if you're a toxic player is you basically hit the clock over when the opponent's making their saves, and then you don't hit it back and they forget about it. Now, every time you're doing the rest of your turn, it's on their clock. And every tournament organizer's rule is if you can't control the clock, it is what it is. So it's not their fault that they didn't hit the clock back. Now, a good player and a friendly player, and almost 90% of the players that you're going to play, is going to hit it back for you. Sometimes I'm rolling on my dice and I just look over the clock. I'm like, bro, hit it. Come on, hit it. Like, I'm reminding him to hit it because it's supposed to be on my time. So I'm teaching him, but also not being a dickhead and being a toxic player because I want him to get better at the game and get better at clock. Sometimes I do clock for myself to practice if I can play this army in clock. When I'm running 110 cultists, I'm like, shit, I got to practice clock. Let me put the clock down, and I might be hitting it back for me and him. So this player that we go against, every single time he hits the clock, he never hits it back. Every single time. So at some point, you hit the clock over, and if he doesn't hit it back, you keep fucking going. That's how to deal with a toxic player. And again, it's kind of a dickhead for me to say, but if he does it to you for the entire fucking time, you're going to lose because he's eating up your time but not being a good player and hitting it back. So this might be some comments below, but let me know what you guys think about the clock thing. Go watch the clock video. But if I hit the clock back to them in the beginning of the game because I'm nice, and all of a sudden they don't hit it back, I'm gonna remind them, like, bro, can you just hit it back? So also, if he hits the clock when you're doing your saves, you hit the clock when he does his saves. So sometimes when I'm playing, I don't hit his clock. I don't hit the clock when he's doing his saves because it might be 1 or 2 rolls. But when he's rolling 40 fucking saves, I'm going to hit his clock because that's going to eat up a lot of time. If he's doing single dice rolls, trying to make a save, I'm hitting his clock because that's going to eat up some time. But if he hits my clock when I'm doing 1 save, well, great. I'm going to hit his clock when he's doing 1 save. You're just copying everything that he's doing. Again, we're going over toxic players today. So when he's toxic and he's toxic and he's doing that shit, you're doing that shit as well. So guys, make sure that you're copying everything that this toxic player is doing to get through the game and have a chance of winning or placing high for this game. This is probably one of the best things to master is the clock, especially against these types of players. The last two things are going to be posted up on Patreon.com. If you guys want to support the channel, head over there. There's also coaching. If you guys want that pro player in your corner just to bounce ideas off of any army that you guys play, it's definitely good to just have somebody in your corner to ask. We have a bunch of people on the Dirtbags that play all different armies. So if I'm not coaching you, it's going to be one of the other players that coach you that specifically master that army. But for me, I do a lot of competitive armies and stuff like that. So we go over list ideas, tactics, we mention videos, we do battle reports, all that stuff. That's basically the competitive Dirtbags. The Grandmasters, we actually play battle reports you guys want to see, we play lists you guys want to see, we do live games that you want to see, and we do suggestions you guys want to see up on Patreon.com. That's the Grandmaster tier. But if you guys are interested in that, head over there, support the channel, and it's $1 a month if you just want to see the last of the 3 things. There's a lot of specific stuff up on Patreon specifically. But again, it gets into our $1,000 goal month to give away the huge giveaway. Then we'll do another one for 15, 2,000, all that stuff moving forward. But there's a lot of stuff coming up on Dirtbag Nation for 2024. I appreciate you guys clicking on the video. Let me know in the comments below what you liked, didn't like, how we can improve on the channel, and what are some things that I maybe suggested. These comments are going to be fucking hilarious. I cannot wait to read them. Guys, appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon. What's up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. If you guys are thinking about joining the Patreon page, we're going to go over each tier and how it's going to benefit you and what you're looking for specifically to get out of 40k in 10th edition coming up. There's a lot of stuff to go over. There's a lot of tactical videos up on the channel, which is for free. There's going to be a bunch of perks that you get specifically for being a part of the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. So first off, we have the first tier, which is $1 a month. You guys get first access to the videos over at patreon.com. You also get access to the Discord, which is specifically a private link in the Discord that only Patreon members can see. So you guys will have first access to that. Also a benefit is Patreons over the Dirtbag Nation get live streamed games on patreon.com streamed from YouTube, but there's only links specifically for the patreons.com. So not only do you get first access to these videos, you also get to see live stream games specifically only on patreon.com. The next tier is the Justicar. You guys get a shout out on every single video on YouTube. You also get to support us a little bit more. You get first dibs at voting on Discord, as well as you just kind of say, hey, I just want to be a Justicar Dirtbag and support you guys a little bit more than that $1 a month tier. But you get all the same access as well as the different color over on the Discord. So the third tier is the competitive Dirtbag. This tier, you get a lot more one-on-one coaching. This is a lot of the Dirtbags over on the Dirtbag Nation. They are able to send out messages one-on-one, go over list ideas, tactics, anything you guys want to talk about. When I was getting into 40k, or really any game in general, I always wanted to message the top players in the meta and just ask them questions. This $10 a month tier gets you that opportunity to message us one-on-one on Discord, so that way we can actually coach you, give you our insights, suggestions, and that's going to get you better at the 40k 10th edition as a whole. So that tier alone, just $10 a month to have one-on-one coaching, one-on-one messages anytime throughout the month, that's going to be a perfect tier for you guys. Even if you're brand new to the game, we go over 1,000 point list, 1,500 point list, 2,000 point brand new starting list, team list, anything you guys need. That's what the competitive Dirtbag tier is for. Also, you get a little bit red number name tag on Discord, so people know that you're really serious about getting into the competitive scene. The Grandmaster Dirtbags. This is the all-in-all $25 a month tier. You get one-on-one coaching, everything we said prior to this, but you guys get to see me, Mike, any of the other Dirtbags play your specific list that you want to see tested out live on one of our battle reports. You guys get to mention, suggest videos you guys want to see coming up on patreon.com. So you guys get the above first tier benefit of everything that we do over at Dirtbag Nation. All the support mainly comes from you guys supporting us over here at Dirtbag Nation. And Grandmasters, I can't thank you enough, but for $25 a month, you get one-on-one coaching and anything you want to see live on the tabletop. So you get to see a professional play right in front of you. You guys get to kind of like see it one-on-one, and I'm actually making this specifically for you. There's also TTS events that you guys can suggest. If you guys want to do a first 1 or 2 turn run through on TTS, we can actually log in and coach you one-on-one with that. If you guys see us at any GTs, you guys get special benefits, free dice, stuff like that. Anytime you purchase a merch thing on Discord, you guys get a free limited edition Dirtbag dice sent to you with every single purchase on top of that. So there's a lot of benefits coming up with the Grandmaster Dirtbag. because I can't thank you enough for supporting us. Definitely let me know which tier would be best for you if you go over to patreon.com and specifically go to a tier. And make sure you don't forget to message me up on Discord. That's where we check every single day. If you guys are really into getting into 10th edition 40k, head over to Patreon, join the competitive Dirtbag or the Grandmaster. Message me as many times as you possibly want, and I'll coach you the best I possibly can on any specific army that you guys play. Mainly our armies right now, currently, going into 2024, is going to be Chaos Space Marines, Grey Knights, Death Guard, and then we have Custodes, Sisters, and I think that's it going into the Wings of 2024. But again, any other army that you guys play, we have other coaches lined up for the Dirtbags that are ready to take on that role of the competitive Dirtbag page. So guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for joining the Dirtbag Nation if you guys are already a part of us. And we'll see you in another video soon.